Hello and welcome to the Pandaverse Book Club. This is our first meeting, and we're going to be sharing some readings from some of our authors at Panda Moon. The moderator for tonight will be Annie McDonnell. She's from the Right Reviewer, and I'm going to turn over everything to her. We're doing this because we love books, and we're intending this to everybody who loves books. Annie?
Yes. Hi, Elgin. Thank you for having me. Welcome to all of the authors and everybody else from Panda Moon. I appreciate everybody for having me very much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Nola Nash doing her reading first.
Hey.
Does that sound wonderful? Just because you're in the top left.
Poor gallery view. All right, we got it. All right, so I'm reading from Crescent City Moon, which is backwards on my screen, but it looks great forwards or backwards. It's a fabulous cover by our fabulous Dawn over there. This is coming from towards the end of the book, and I chose this section, because it has Annie's favorite person who haunts her in her sleep in this one. I know how you feel about Selene, Annie, so here you go. And I know how you feel about Louis, Laura.
Woo!
So
I was hoping for a Louis part, but no.
This is Louis and Selene.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. So Louis is in the cabin, and he is running into Selene for the first time. High above him, hanging from the rafters in the dark shadows of the vaulted roof, was Renand. His corpse was stripped to the waist, and a thin trickle of blood ran from his lips onto the rope around his neck. Shock and rage collided in his stomach, chilling him to his core. "Selene," he growled, "show yourself, witch." Laughter, wild and maniacal, filled the cabin and rattled the walls. The cabin door slammed shut behind him. Louis raised his gun but had no target. Now, chérie." Selene's voice was silk. "Let's not begin that way." A cold, unseen hand grabbed his arm and wrenched it behind him. The gun burned white-hot in Louis's hand, and he could smell his flesh burning, making him drop the weapon in a roar of pain. "There now, that's better," she crooned. The same unseen force yanked the gun away as he dove for it, then held him face down on the ground as if there was a knee between his shoulder blades. The door opened, and the gun slid outside, clattering across the boards and down to the murky ground below. Louis was helpless. "You're a demon, Selene," he screamed into the nothingness. "What did Renand ever do to you?" "He was such a good man, wasn't he? Strong and handsome. I know why Nell kept him around." Louis wanted to retch. There was something vile in the way Selene talked about Renand, like he was a warehouse district whore. "Shame I couldn't keep him in a bit longer," she purred. "I would have enjoyed that." "Then why did you kill him?" Louis demanded. Selene laughed. "As much as I would have liked to keep him for myself, he served his purpose. He brought me something I will enjoy so much more." Louis's skin crawled as he felt a hand run up the back of his leg and stop at the small of his back, giving the waistband of his pants a playful tug. He thrashed against the floor, trying to break free of the force holding him down, and Selene released him just long enough for Louis to turn over onto his back and scramble backwards away from her. Instantly, he realized he'd done exactly what she wanted. Unseen hands pushed him onto the planked floor. One hand rested heavily on his chest, holding him down, while the other began playing with the curls in his hair. His hands clawed at the air, trying to pull her away, but there was nothing to grab onto. Helpless, Louis flailed as Selene gently stroked his face and traced his lips with an invisible cold finger. Fear and revulsion surged through his body with every touch. Her laugh became a low, sultry chuckle as he struggled against her. "I won't give you what you want, Selene." A sharp crack of laughter. "You don't have to give me anything. I'd take what I want, chérie." "Not everything, hag," Louis growled at her. "You can't take Zélie." Selene roared in anger and slapped Louis hard across the face. There was a flash of blinding white light, then blackness. There is Louis and Selene.
I love it. I absolutely adore. I love it. I love Crescent City Moon by Nola Nash. So I do have a minute to ask you a question or two, correct? So I'm going to keep asking. But I didn't want to delve into please tell us what the story is about. I wanted to see what part of the book you were going to read. So if you can please tell us what those three characters are in relation to one another in your story.
Sure. Selene is the unseen force, the voice that is haunting our main character, Zélie. Fairly early on in the book, Zélie finds out that that voice is actually her mother, that she thought died when she was born. And the mother is out basically for revenge against all of those who've ever protected her daughter from her for the last 21 years, and she wants her daughter. And Louis is the police officer who's trying desperately to help Zélie, who he's trying really hard not to fall in love with. It's not working. Totally in love with her. And he's coming to her rescue, he thinks, and runs smack into Selene. And Selene has hung one of the other people who have been trying to help Zélie from the rafters of the cabin. And so he finds Renand there. And so when he tries to confront Selene, being everywhere and nowhere at once, manages to get her own way with Louis.
This story's so wonderful. I mean, all of the characters are fabulous. You can't help but get carried away with all of the characters. But, you know, Louis is definitely somebody that you embrace quickly, right, Laura?
Right.
Especially, you know, if you're a female reader. But, you know,
Gotta love Louis.
male and female readers alike can definitely read this novel. Where are you on, since we're in quarantine right now, where are you on Facebook lately? What are you doing on Facebook?
Well, other than hanging out and doing interviews with you, which are so much fun, I do enjoy that. We got to do that the other day. I'm hanging out on my Facebook group, Nola's Second Line, just regular Facebook, my regular page, but hanging out in Nola's Second Line is a lot of fun for me because that's where I get to share all of the things that I'm working on, and every now and then we do a giveaway when I get bored and need something fun to do. We'll hold some kind of contest and do a giveaway. So it's about time to do a quarantine giveaway, I believe. So I know we got to give away a book the other day when you and I were chatting, so that's kind of fun.
You did. Thank you. Are you you are on Instagram? What is your name on Instagram?
At Nola Nash Writes. And that's Instagram and Twitter. Nola Nash Writes.
Okay, fabulous. If you could tell anybody anything about yourself as an author, what would you want them to know?
I guess I would want them to know, I mean, obviously New Orleans is very important to me, but New Orleans and its culture are important to me, and that culture includes all of the things, both historical and magical, voodoo, all of those things. And I think it's important to me as an author to get those things right. And that's something that I spend a lot of time doing, is actually experiencing those things, going through all of the things that the characters go through in these books to make sure that the experience is correct for not only my readers, but for those people in New Orleans that is a part of their everyday life. And it's just sacred to them. And I don't want to do them any dishonor. So that is the most important thing, I think, especially in this series. Writing about those things is making sure that I get it right for those people.
What I love is that a lot of the readers that I know that have read your book are always very excited to know that so much of it is really drenched in true historical facts. Yeah. And that's very exciting.
Yes, for me, it's more, the thing that I research first is the history, the fact, and then I weave the fiction into it. And I think that's the only way to do historical fiction well, is to make sure that there is no way that the readers are going to find fault with the history and get lost in inaccuracies so much that they can't enjoy the fiction that you've woven in. I mean, this is a book about witchcraft and voodoo and, you know, disembodied voices haunting people, but the root of it is truly New Orleans history.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Well, thank you, Nola. I really appreciate your time. And I do want to go to Laura Kemp next.
Yay, Laura. Hi.
All right. Thank you, Nola. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Nola.
Hi, Laura.
I'm on my little phone. I don't know if you can see my book. Look, I have the book.
Oh,
yeah. In the Yellow Wood.
Evening in the Yellowwood, which was my favorite book of 2019.
I know. I love that. I need to have that put on a T-shirt or something.
You do, you do.
That. Ooh.
That's pretty big. It's pretty big news. And
It
I mean,
is.
I like to say that about myself, right? But yeah.
You are big news. Big news.
But so,
Annie says, read this book. Right?
Annie says, read this book.
So tell me, because there's like such a large, this has so many genres in it, and it's very hard to describe what the book is about. That's why I decided it's a lot easier for everybody to read from their book and then tell us what it's about,
Sure.
what they're reading from. So can you read your part first? I'm dying to
Yeah.
see what you're going to read.
Well, I'm going to read from the prologue. I did that the other day on a radio interview that I did, and I just kind of
great.
set the scene because the prologue is kind of long. But Justina's at the community pool, and her mother has come to collect her and a friend. Collect, that sounds very British, doesn't it? But she's come to collect her friend, and they are driving home in the car, and she's dropped the friend off, and she's handing Justine a note. Justine has the sneaking suspicion it has something to do with her father, because her mother has said that her father is gone. So she's trying to get to the bottom of what exactly her mother means. So I will jump in there. Excuse me, he probably had to work overtime or something and forgot to tell you. She shook her head, and the barest of smiles touched her lips, the one I hated because it usually meant that I was wrong. I went out to run some errands while you were at the pool, and when I came home, she touched her nose again, her brown hair falling over her face in a way that made her look like a nun in prayer. I found this. I saw something in her clenched fist, something she was handing over the back seat, a piece of crumpled notebook paper that had been folded neatly into quarters, her name printed in the block letters that I recognized. With shaking hands, I took it, the smell of chlorine suddenly suffocating me. I looked to Mom again. Read it, she said. I did. The first line made it clear he loved us very much and always would, and the second had me tearing at the car door, racing up the driveway and into the house that we had shared for almost 12 years. I can't tell you why I had to leave or if I'll ever be able to come back. I made it to the front door, yanked it open, and fumbled with the hook and eye latch on our screen. The painting in the studio has just sold. Put the money towards Justine's college. It would be better if you don't try to find me. I ran upstairs to his bedroom and threw open the closet door. Some clothes and an overnight bag he had used when he went fishing were missing. I ran down the hall to my own room, a pink and purple confection I just started decorating in my own style. One of Dad's forest landscapes above the bed. Had he left something for me? A note explaining what he really meant to say? A place we could meet up and ditch Mom, live the free and easy life we'd always wanted. A package tied carefully with silver ribbon that just matched my bedspread was sitting in plain sight, a card taped to the center. Muffet. I tore the card open so quickly I cut my finger. An orange kitten with a party hat adorned the front, a ball of pink twine between his paws. Hope your birthday is perfect. I clenched my teeth so hard my jaw hurt. My birthday was a month away, and I sure as hell didn't care about a stupid kitten. Damn if my birthday this year would be anything close to perfect. I went to my knees, my own hair falling against my hot cheeks and sticking there. The next minute I was ripping up the card and the awful orange kitten with the party hat. I sat in the middle of the confetti pieces for a long time, sobbing, my face pressed against my bedspread. Dad was gone. The zen vanished. The magic over. That's it.
Well, that really sets the
Thank you.
that really sets the precedent for this entire book. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So that's
it
that is the perfect part to read. But you know, I
Thank
would have
you.
chosen.
They'll run it through the woods. Next time, right?
Mike, I always want to be the person who does the, you know, the audiobook for her.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. You should try to do it.
I'm just
There we
kidding.
go.
I would not be good at it. But anyway, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
I think you'd be good. Oh, I
No.
know.
But so can you tell everybody what the importance of this prologue has to do with the entire story, the present, especially
Oh,
when the
yeah.
present is
Yeah. It's kind of Well, it sets the tone for everything. Obviously, her dad is gone, and she's wondering where he went. That's the whole book. She's trying to find her dad. And this present kind of ties everything together because it floats throughout the whole book. She does not open the present. What's in the present? 10 years later, she still hasn't opened the present. What is in the present? And I didn't even know when I was writing it what the heck I was going to put in the present, but it came to me. It came to me exactly the right time, and I think I put something pretty good in that present. So, yeah, that's what the significance of that is.
All right, so I think so let's tell everybody a little bit more about the story about so she does she does hunt looking for her father.
She does.
She goes looking for her father. So not only does her father leave, but the story is about her looking for her father.
Yeah, and she goes to this mysterious town in the north. And my book's kind of hard to describe sometimes because there's so many places I could spoil it, you know, but she meets a bunch of people. What did I say yesterday? It's like Northern Exposure meets Twin Peaks. And I was dating myself highly with those two shows, but it's fun, quirky characters, and all of the characters are not quite what they seem. They always there's a hidden layer to them that ties together with her search, with what happened to her father. And it's everything in the kitchen sink, I say, the story. Everything in the kitchen sink.
There's like 6 genres rolled into
There
one.
is probably more. So,
I know.
Yeah.
So if you like any genre, you're going to lean towards this book because it's going to have so many different things that you'd like. But let me ask you this. If there was something that you want somebody to know about you, you know, what would you want it to be, you in this book?
Me and the book?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like people, I know a lot of times people say, oh, I don't like paranormal, or I don't like, and I would want to say give it a shot, because no matter what you like and what you don't like, I think you're going to find something in this book that will speak to you. So even if you don't necessarily like the supernatural, the paranormal, the spooky, because I know you're not a horror person, Annie, you gave it a shot. I'm so glad you gave it a shot. Because
I did
dramatically, you know, give it a shot, because I think you're going to find that you'll be able to take something away from this book, and hopefully it'll stick with you.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I have found, that's wonderful advice. It's enough that you can dabble in a genre that you might not even know that you might be interested in, that you'll read it and then you'll say, wow, it'll open your eyes to another genre, right? Like horror,
trying to bring everybody together.
Yeah, or magical realism, and you just don't even realize that you're interested in it, which I think is like one of the magical parts of this whole story, is that it does that for other authors, you know. So I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. So where can people find you online?
Well, I'm on Cat Camp, which is my street team, on Facebook, I have, oh goodness, over 1,000 members now. It's really fun. And
yes,
then
that's a lot of fun.
Yay! And on Instagram at @LKempWrites. Same on Twitter, and I'm pretty active on all those platforms, so you can find me.
Yes, you are. And I know you and Nola share a lot of stuff.
We do.
You're on your page, she's on your page. So
Laura's my girl. I love Laura.
And Nola's
love me some Laura.
we're
all up in each other's pages.
We are.
And Annie's page too.
Yep.
And you also have a very nice fun male character in your book, like Nola has in hers.
Oh, a fun. You mean a cutie patootie?
A cutie patootie.
And he's a police officer too, just like Nola.
Or a cute police officer in yours.
Yes, I do.
It's always nice to know that there's a little bucket of romance and things.
Yeah.
You know,
I do.
so
I
people
like it.
People like to hear that sometimes. All right. Well, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask Mike Eberhardt to speak next, because we love his voice at Pandaverse.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to do this stuff. I love it. Today I'll be reading from Brian Cohn's book, The Last Detective.
Fantastic.
And I've chosen a little selection that doesn't spoil anything to set up the scene. Right before this, a detective named Adrian and a police officer named Catherine have followed a suspicious guy named Pembroke to an apartment. Pembroke goes in this apartment and then comes out only like a couple minutes later, and his face is drained of color and he vomits all over his own shoes and then leaves. And so they follow him to his apartment. Before that, they go into the apartment and discover a dead body inside that's just been beaten to a bloody pulp. And so then they go to Pembroke's apartment to question him about what they found.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Pembroke's apartment is on the 3rd floor of one of the 6 buildings that make up the lofts. I can hear him stumbling around inside for a few seconds after I knock, before the door finally opens and 2 beady, red-rimmed eyes stare out through the crack, glaring at me with fear and incomprehension, before shifting to Catherine and softening with recognition. The door opens wide and Pembroke stands there, his hands still shaking. He thrusts them into his pockets and puts on a smile that's as phony as a $3 bill. "Officer Higashi," he says nervously, "what are you doing here?" He glances back at me suspiciously before backing away from the door, allowing us to step inside. The apartment is sparsely furnished, decorated with little thought. The walls are bare, and the single bookshelf sits empty save for a framed diploma announcing the graduation of one Peter Dumping Pembroke from some law school I've never heard of. A thick film of dust coats the empty shelves, and the floor is littered with crumbs. There's a round wooden breakfast table under the window, and sitting on the table is an open, unlabeled bottle and a half-empty shot glass. Pembroke walks over to the table and drains the glass, then stares absently out the window, hands shaking at his sides. "So, who was he?" I ask without introduction. What are you talking about?" he stutters as he turns toward me, his face devoid of color. Catherine shuts the front door and locks it. Pembroke twitches as the lock clicks into place. He looks at her pleadingly. "Catherine, who is this guy?" "He's a detective, Peter. He's working for the chief, and you're better off cooperating with him." "But I didn't do anything." "Then who was the dead guy in the apartment?" I ask. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says, his delivery somewhere between high school theater and drama camp. "Stop playing games, Pembroke. We followed you to that rat-infested hellhole and we saw the body. What did he do? Sleep with your girlfriend? Welch on a bet? So you offered to meet him somewhere private, then bashed his brains in. Is that it?" "No, I didn't kill him." He's on the verge of tears now, eyes welling up behind the thin lenses, hands dancing in the air like marionettes. "I swear it." "Yeah, well, we got a dead body in an abandoned apartment and your bloody fingerprints on the door saying you did it." He whimpers and slumps down into one of the chairs, buries his head in his hands, and sobs. I made up that last bit about the fingerprints, of course, but it doesn't matter. He was scared shitless when he left that apartment. I could have told him he was riding a unicycle and he'd probably believe me. I let my shoulders sag a little as I sit in the chair next to him, giving him a piteous look and doing my best to look like I actually care. "Look, buddy," I say, the edge gone from my voice. "You say you didn't kill him, and I want to believe you. I really do. But you have to understand how this looks. I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell us what you were doing there, and we'll see if we can't figure a way out of this." He stares at the table for nearly a minute, chewing his lower lip like it's a piece of beef jerky. I pick up the bottle and pour another shot, push the glass across the table towards him. He eyes it suspiciously, then picks it up and drains the contents. I give him another minute to let the liquor work its magic before trying again. "Where is Harry Zimmerman?" "I don't know," he says. "I dropped him off at the apartment 2 nights ago. He was supposed to be moved this morning. This afternoon, I got a message that he needed to see me, so I thought there must have been a problem with the move. But when I went down there, he wasn't there. There was just..." He trails off, then goes silent, staring at the empty shot glass in his hand. I fill it up once again. "Whose body was it?" This time, he answers before taking a drink. I don't know. I swear it. They never tell me anything."
Look, I'm like, who's they?
The bad people.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Oh my gosh. That's fascinating. So
Yeah,
did you
this is an unconventional detective story in a
Yeah, so
lot
what
of
you,
ways.
yeah, what Elgon's alluding to is actually aliens have invaded the Earth, and one of the aliens actually gets murdered, and the detective is trying to solve the murder of an alien.
of an alien?
Yeah, so it's a very
Oh, so
unusual
that's the
detective
day.
story. And
Oh,
the aliens have been sending off humans into work camps, and the ones that go to the work camps never come back. And some people have been escaping before their names are called. And so he's trying to figure out how are they knowing their name is going to be called and escaping before they get sent to the work camp. The aliens are very oppressive.
oh, this is exciting. This is really interesting. So, okay, so you're gonna need to tell us a little bit more about the book.
Oh, what can I tell you? Earth has been invaded. They've taken over every major city. The aliens send the humans to work camps. They never come back. They get just enough food to survive each winter. They're kind of self-policing with this mock police force they call the Authority. And those are the ones that are peacekeeping. And the detective basically is trying to solve this murder while also trying to figure out what has happened to his family. There's a little pseudo love interest going on. Catherine's trying to protect her children. Pembroke is just as dirty as he sounds. It's a really fun story with a lot of twists. It's hard not to give anything away.
Right, okay, I understand. That's very neat. So you did the audiobook for this?
I did. Yep. I was lucky
Yeah.
enough to do the audiobook, which is a ton of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. You must have enjoyed doing that very much, I can tell.
I do. I love creating the characters and just exploring it. For me as an actor, it's great because when the books are so much more fun than just a regular script of some kind because it's so descriptive. They give you the motives for the characters. They set up the scene so well. So when you're envisioning it, when you're acting it, it's really easy to feel like you're actually there. And when I think about that book, it's almost like I'm reliving my own memories as if I was in that space, even though that's ludicrous.
Do you miss a book when you finish it?
I do, and what's funny is I actually miss the characters more because I try to develop the characters ahead of time, and they're all very unique and have their own sounds. And then I don't really use them again because it'd be obvious if you listen to all my books, you go, oh, that's this person from that book or this person from that book. And so it's very interesting that it's like an artist using certain colors of the palette, and then later you kind of revisit and just add a little bit more shade into the red to give a little different flavor. And so you try to never repeat. But yeah, I miss some characters. It's funny, I'm such a nerd. I play a lot of online games with my friends, and my poor friends have to listen to me talk in different character voices all the time. And luckily, they all listen to my audiobook, so they know who the characters are, and they humor me, which is really nice.
That's a lot. That's really neat. I love it. That's exciting. So what did you also, I know Brian, when was this book out by Brian?
The audiobook came out about 1.5 years ago. I'm not sure when the book was actually published. I think it's a little one of his older titles. It's been a good number of years, but it's definitely been available as an audiobook for about 1.5 years.
All right, fantastic. Does anybody know if we can find Brian on Facebook? If anybody can find him on Facebook and everything like that?
Yes, Brian is on Facebook for sure.
Fantastic.
And I'm on Facebook as well. I have my own page there, and I have my own studio called Super Fun Studios. I do lots of audiobooks, so I'm there on Facebook under Super Fun Studios and on Twitter as Super Fun Studios. I'm a nerd. I read everything. My shampoo bottle in the shower, the food in my pantry, you name it. I just think it's really fun, so that was the name.
Everything Super Fun Studios. I love that.
Brian is actually an emergency room doctor.
He is. So he is on the front line right now.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless him. Oh my gosh.
He is the ER doctor, of course, as Elgin said, but he is in the largest hospital in St. Louis. So he is absolutely under the gun.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll have to send him best wishes for sure. We're definitely thinking of him.
Wow. For sure.
Well, I'm really happy that you were here to read from his book, Mike. But I'm also very excited that we got to meet you. But I want to write this down. It's super fun.
Yeah, Super Fun Studios.
I take notes when I'm doing these things too, you know. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
I already had the names of Brian's books and everything, so I had all of his notes, but I didn't I had your name, but I didn't have your studio's name down.
Oh, perfect. I've got a website too, superfunstudios.com.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Is there anything that you would like anyone to know about you that we don't know in regards to things that you do with the book world or anything like that?
Gosh, it's just that I love this work. I love it, absolutely love it. I'll read anything. I do commercials, but audiobooks are my favorite thing because you get to live and breathe as the characters. It feels like you're really exploring the actual locales. It's just a lot of fun. It's really gratifying as an actor to do it. I did musicals for years and years and years, and this is just a whole new level. I just love it so much. So I love the work. I know a lot of people say that, but I really, really mean it.
That's fantastic. I do have one other question. Do you read the whole book before you start your recording?
I don't. I'm so weird. I do not read the whole book. So I'll usually read the first 4 or 5 chapters to get a feel for it. And then I only read the chapter the night before I record it. And the reason I do that is I'm from the stage, so I tend to telegraph things. We're acting big when you're on stage. And so I would telegraph who's a bad person, who's a good person, and all those kinds of things. So I don't want to know. And so I create the characters as they seem as the reader meets them. And then as they change, there's some really crazy twists where I'm sitting and reading the book the night before, and I'm like, no! I did a Project 147 by Seth Augustine, and there's a character in there. I won't say the person's name, but I was like, oh, I'm developing a crush on this character. I love doing this character. And then when that character became the huge betrayer, I literally was like, no! I couldn't believe it. And so I was shocked. And so I like to keep those emotions intact when I do a book, and so I never read it in advance.
Oh, I love it. That's great information about yourself. That's wonderful. Well, Mike, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for reading for us from Brian Cohen's book. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you too.
All right, thank you. And next, I would like, next up is Susan. I'm not sure if I'm going to say your last name right. Kuchakin?
Yeah, no, that's okay. No.
Kuchakinskas?
It's Susan Kachinskas. But
Kuchakin.
whatever.
I'm so
not
innocent. But Singularity Syndrome.
Yes.
Yes, which has come out recently. Serena reviewed it. Serena
Yes,
reviewed
and I
it.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, she really liked it.
Good.
So very exciting.
Hi,
So
Serena.
all right. So I think this is so which part of the book are you going to be reading from?
I'm going to read from the opener.
Oh, fantastic.
The
Okay, good.
beginning. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a science fiction detective novel, like Brian Cohen's, and it has the pretty classic detective novel opener. And 2 things I should tell you. One, I have a cold. I don't think I'm going to start coughing, but if I do, I'm sorry, and I'll mute myself. And Finder, my main character, is a man. So
Okay.
I probably should be having Mike read this, but I'm going to read it. All right. And he's the first person narrator. It was just the kind of case I like. Someone was sipping data from Hergel's supposedly leak-proof data cloud. Hergel wasn't an especially evil corporation, just average evil. So I didn't mind taking their coins to send sniffers loose in the data streams. I found the leak and plugged it for good with a worm that trashed the sneak thieves' servers. They never knew what hit them, and my clients and I never knew who they were, but that didn't matter. They'd be back, or someone else would. The universe holds an infinite number of crackers. It was 13 and a half hours of work by my intelligent agents while me, the parrot, and Ultima sat around the warehouse snacking on chapel bars and fresh water. Then she called and reminded me what kind of case I really like. The call came in on my public comm screen with full voice and video. A woman, long scarlet hair, glossy in the style of years ago. She was beautiful, with lines around her eyes that showed she liked to smile. But not smiling now, of course not. She wouldn't be calling me if she had anything to smile about. How can I help you? I'm the finder. That's what I do, so it's obvious. But it helps them to start from the beginning. And the immediate promise of help is a manly touch. Gender still matters to a lot of people. I'm worried about my husband. He's missing? No. Then what? A small crease furrowed her lovely forehead. His behavior has changed. How so? He's lost focus. Is he dangerous? Accident prone? I'm not clear why you've called me. Why not a psychiatrist? We run a business together, a significant company. He's got some strange ideas, and they're impacting our business. If this is some corporate drama, I'm not interested. I know about you. Then you know I don't care about the corpse, unless it interests you. And why would it? I think his brain has been hacked. All right, she was right. That was interesting. His brain has been hacked, or you just don't like the way he thinks. I don't like the way he thinks, but it's more than that. He's not thinking the way he used to. People change. Yes, they do. She let the silence draw out, and so did I. I could be silent much longer than most people. Okay, she gave in. He used to, oh, I have to cough, whoops. She gave in. He used to always be about crushing it, disrupting the paradigm. She saw my look. Yeah, all that macho bullshit, I know. But the point is, he'd do anything for the company. It's his life's work. And now I'm hearing about a higher purpose. A man can dream. A man can delude himself with bullshit. And you want me to bring him down out of the stratosphere? Sounds like a job for a psychotherapist, not a detective. She leaned into the screen. I could almost smell her scent. It would be floral, with a hint of bitterness underneath. She said, everyone knows you're a biohacker, and they say you use your own brain as your biggest experiment. So it takes one to know one? She shrugged. Yeah, frankly. I was starting to taste it, the harsh of adrenaline in the back of my throat. Excitement. Check it. He used to be all business, now he's searching for something more. That's not enough to sick a detective on him. What else do you have? He's just different. She picked up on my look. She was smart and stood up for herself. I know, right? That sounds so vague, but there's something really off about him, something scary. There's a glitch sometimes. A glitch? Yes, an actual glitch. He'll be in a meeting talking about the next product release, and he'll just stop for a second. His eyes will twitch, then he'll pick up again. It's like someone pressed the reset button. And he's been dancing. Dancing? Dancing is not a big thing these days, now that physical proximity bears such a high danger of contracting an illness. But it's not a sign of derangement. Red sneered. You don't know about the dancers? It's a new thing with the tech crowd, getting together in real space and just dancing. With people who are fluid bonded? Fluid bonding was another big thing following the multiple pandemics we've been through. A group of people would go through rigorous testing and be certified as disease-free, then promise to physically associate only with each other. No, not even fluid bonded. Dancing with strangers even. It's crazy, right? So timely.
So timely. I'm just like, what? You're going to end it with that? Dancing with strangers? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. This is horrible.
That's
What is
okay.
this fluid bonding thing here, and how do we go about this, Susan? I feel like we need.
Actually, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. People who are like to have sex with a lot of different people, sometimes they will do this. They'll agree to get tested and then only have sex with each other.
Whoa.
I didn't make it up.
That is not part of my world.
I'm learning stuff on this call. This is great.
Nola, she does her research.
Yeah. Well, Susan, I tend to actually experience the things myself that I put in the books. Is this
so
how?
you've been hung? You've been hung?
I've not been hung. I've done the magic part. The magic. I have never hung anyone nor carved sigils into another man's body.
Well,
but
there you go.
do you?
We make stuff up. We're authors, but this is a real thing. I mean, so much in my book is, and the last book, Chimera Catalyst, it's based on science and social trends and technology that are happening now. So, yeah.
I mean, wow, what an excellent beginning. So I was taken aback with the parrot,
Hmm.
feeding the parrot, because I know a little bit about the parrot. So can you, for 1 second, tell everybody about the parrot?
Sure. So in the previous book, Chimera Catalyst is about the making of chimeras, organisms that have genes from more than one kind of organism. So Finder is a biohacker and a gene splicer, and he created the parrot. So he's part parrot and part dog, and he's his sidekick. And over the course of the first book, Finder opens up and realizes he loves the parrot.
Aww.
Hmm.
Oh, so cool though. I mean, so what a cool thing. What a genius thing to make up. I love it. It's totally different than anything you've ever read, or I've ever read anyway. I don't know about anyone else, but it's very genius. So, all right. So I guess Finder does decide to meet up with her in person.
No, hold on, I got a cough. Here I am. In this world, people do not often meet in person. He doesn't ever. His dealings with her are virtual, but he does indeed
Take
meet
the
up
case.
with. Yeah, he takes the
Okay.
case, and Finder's method is actually to meet face to face with people. He's very old-fashioned that way.
I mean, what a great story. I love it. So, what would you want anybody to know about this story and yourself?
Okay, it's sort of a Romana Calais of the tech world. My evil, my antagonist is a venture capitalist and technologist who's based on a real person, and some of the ideas my villain takes them to extremes, but they're ideas that a real person has promulgated in public, and the method this VC is going to use is altering people's microbiome by putting engineered bacteria into an energy drink, and that's based on Soylent, which is, in the book it's called Glorp. It's based on Soylent, which is also a real thing that people in the tech industry do. It's this rather expensive. It's sort of like Ensure for tech bros.
Well, didn't they do that in the show Hunters?
I don't know that show.
They put something in the drinks to pass around that they were passing around to poison everybody.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't high tech because they didn't have technology back in the 70s like they do today. So it wasn't high tech, but it was definitely scary. So I couldn't imagine if something like that was done on top of having technology involved. It has to be totally insanity. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine reading this book. Oh wow. Serena.
Oh, you should try it. Read it. Serena,
yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will. So, where can people find you on Facebook, the internet, Instagram?
Okay. I'm on Facebook as Susan Kaczynskis. I also have a Facebook page for my novels. That's Chimera Catalyst, which was my first book. On Twitter, I'm at Susan Kaczynskis, and I'm a bad person. I do not have Instagram.
I have it, but I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
I post and I get messages and I write to authors and I respond, but I really don't know what I'm doing.
I think that's it.
That's the way to go nowadays.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't know how it works, but it's always good to have the account at least. That's wonderful, and I love that cover as well. Panda Moon has wonderful covers.
Yeah.
Don't they? I mean, don't you all? I'm talking about you like it's not you. You guys had the best covers.
Yes,
I
we
really
do.
love my covers.
Yes, you definitely do. They're all wonderful. Everybody, hold up your books. Come on.
Why is mine backwards?
I think it's just
Mine's
in your
in the
camera.
bedroom.
Mine's
My
goes
husband's
backwards in my
sleeping.
camera, but I bet it's.
Oh, okay.
Fabulous. All right. Well, does anybody else, Elgin? I really, this was a wonderful, I was timing everybody so that we would end within the hour. So that's how it was
Yeah,
perfect.
it worked out great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really great that you've read some of the books that were in here, so you could actually interview based on your feelings and knowledge about the book. So that worked out really well.
Well, you're a good interviewer, even if you didn't read the book, too. Thank you.
Thank you. I love doing interviews. I love doing interviews when I read the book, when I don't read the book. But when I read the book, it's a lot more impassioned because it's like, I really understand the characters a lot deeper. I feel like I know them.
Yes, you do.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel like Mike because he's read them. I kind of feel the same because I when I read a book, I feel I always say that I'm a method reader. Like when I read Nola's book, I read it out loud. All before I know it, I'm standing up and I'm and I'm reading to my dogs out loud. That's what I do because I
Reading
get
it aloud is so much different than just reading it inside your mind. It really changes the way you feel about it, I feel like, for me.
Yeah, it does, and all of your voices change for the character. I do this. I do the same thing, and my dogs are like,
What's she doing?
Yeah, it's very.
What's Mama doing?
I bet they went and hid under the couch and things like that when Celine was
When
speaking.
Celine came out. Yeah. I mean,
We said they were gonna have to get thunder coats for the next book because it gets even worse.
She told me the next book is scary, like a lot scarier, Crescent City Sin. She said it's so scary. I said, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to get thunder coats for my dogs because the thunder is gonna come out when I'm like Celine, But yeah, I love reading. I haven't read a Panda Moon book that I haven't absolutely adored. It's one of my favorite publishing houses, if not my favorite. Absolutely.
Oh,
Appreciate you and everything you do.
We do.
Thank you, Annie. By the way, Annie, if you ever want to hear an audiobook, just shoot me a message. Any one that I've done, I'm happy to send you promo codes for so you can hear them free.
Oh, yay! Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That goes for all of y'all.
Yay! Awesome. We love, Serena and I both love audiobooks, so that's fantastic news. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
Yay! I need to read Brian Cohen, and I definitely need to read. I wonder, Tony Oliver? I don't know where he went.
Yeah, Tony Olivia. He's
Olivia.
Yeah, he had to check out. He's got an early day tomorrow. So.
Oh, because he has that new book.
It's good.
Oh,
yeah, it's really good.
I'm so excited to read that book.
That one has so many twists and turns in it. It's just wild. It is very good.
I can only imagine. Yeah, so that's really good.
Tony has firsthand experience with a lot of places around the world. So, like this one's primarily set in Amsterdam, but he travels a lot. He's been everywhere. So, his future books in the series are going to be set in different cities around the world.
So, what is the name of his book?
The Amsterdam Deception.
The Amsterdam Deception, that's right. So everybody, even though he's not here, y'all need to check out his book, The Amsterdam Deception. It's fabulous. That cover's really nice too. Let me not say nice. Let me just say it's very enticing because it definitely makes you want to go. Yes, it's enticing. It makes you want to go.
The cover's like the first scene of the book, really.
Woo!
Yeah, red light district to Amsterdam.
Oh my gosh! I have to read that book. But yeah, there's so many I have to read. But yeah, and Susan's of course. But there's so many. But very exciting. And I hope that you'll invite me back.
Oh, of course.
Serena.
Of course.
We'd be really excited. So we were very excited about today. So thank you very much. Oh, and Elgin's books. I bought all of Elgin. I have all of Elgin's books. Or Elgin, I'm sorry. I always say his name. I have all of his books, and it's just like I always say, my world is always like it revolves around whoever I'm interviewing. So it's very hard to fit in because I bought somebody's book, like what I'm choosing to read, right? So I bought all of his books because I want to read them. But those are always like on the pleasure reads are always on the back burner. And not that everyone else's are not, but if you're not on my interview list, like it's just so difficult. So it's just, but
Well,
yeah.
looks like I got to get on your interview list then.
Well, yes, you do.
There it is.
Absolutely. I think
Got
that'll be
openings in September, right?
yes, I have openings in September. But yeah, definitely let's get you on the list. But it'll be awesome. But that's, you know, I read the book, we talk for an hour, but then we just are able to discuss the book. You know, we'll pick a book that we're definitely going to talk about. But yeah, I guarantee I read one. I try to read more than one, but it's a lot of fun. So, and then Serena like helps me with everything.
Yay.
The Brady Bunch.
There she is.
I love how you just pointed right at her square. That was perfect.
I couldn't do anything without Serena.
I enjoy the Brady Bunch view. I'm glad we've discovered this and our platform here for this.
Yes, this is a lot of fun.
It'll be interesting to see how this recordings actually plays out.
That's true, yeah.
The people who are watching us will be going,
What are you talking about?
what are they
The Brady
talking
Bunch
about?
view.
What's going on?
Yeah, I can't wait to find out either.
That is funny.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thanks, you guys. This was so
Yeah,
fun.
nice to
Great
see
idea.
everybody.
Yeah, it was
Listen,
nice
I'm-
to meet everyone I haven't met, and I look forward to getting to know you
Faces.
better. And now I
Yeah.
know how to stalk you, and so does the rest of the world.
I know how to say Susan's last name.
Yeah.
I didn't know either.
It's funny before interviews, like I practice people's names, don't I?
Yes, you
Oh
absolutely
my
do.
God.
That's gotta be
Clowns,
What was that?
no!
Oh, that's just my mate.
that's the kind of person Susan is.
He didn't want to be on screen, or they didn't want to be on screen, huh?
Lives with a clown.
That was good.
I love
That
it. I
was
love
good.
it.
That was
That's
great.
fantastic.
All right. Bye, you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for
Bye,
coming
Bye,
in.
everybody.